the grid, where lights and neon flashing 80s music, where Dan and Walt review Tron. I was trying to do one of those like intro things that they do, like trailer voices. Doesn't work. What's going on, everybody? Disney Dan here. Welcome back. Finally, welcome to our Disney movie review.
I know, it's been a while.
It's been a while. We are back. We are going to be reviewing mostly the original 1982 Tron. And we will throw a bit of Tron Legacy in there because I really have an affiliation with the Tron Legacy film, but we're going to mainly focus on the original film of Tron. We are really excited. I got my buddy. I've got Walter. Dude, it's been a while.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry. 1 week was your fault. 1 week was my fault. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm glad to be back. This is good. I watched it, and we got a lot to talk about on this one.
We do. We definitely have a lot to talk about. It's definitely one of those 80s classic movies. We're looking forward to reviewing Tron and Tron Legacy. But before we get started, guys, please make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, and then once you've done all that, go subscribe to Walt's channel. By the way, who just hit 7,000 subscribers? Dude, that is an amazing achievement, and I'm so proud of you, and everything that you're doing is just amazing, dude. So really well done.
I appreciate it. And no, don't subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to Dan's channel. Hit the like button and all that good stuff because it's all free. It doesn't cost anything. Isn't it great?
It's all free. Like, not a lot of things in this world are free, but
that is
a red click. That's all you need. But really, guys, go check out Walt's channel. He did an amazing live stream over at Magic Kingdom today. Melissa did a great stream over in Epcot yesterday. It was so much fun, and they do wonderful streams from the parks, as well as some other really great series that they do on their channel. Their new Disney Ride-Along series, which I messaged Walt during the week. I was like, this is really great. I really love how you take the Disney Ride-Along series and how you sort of create it, and it's a different take on it. So you got so much great stuff going on, and I'm really excited by all that.
Thanks, pal. I appreciate it, and I'm glad to be here again. These are great. I love doing these with you. I miss them when we don't do them. So
me too.
2 weeks without one, I was itching to get back. So this is going to be awesome tonight. We got a lot of people here too.
We do. We have a lot of people. Let's see who's in the chat. We got Hannah Waghorn in the chat, and she says, "Please don't use my disc. Don't worry. Keep your own disc. It's all good." Thank you for being a member, Hannah, and also a member. Thank you, James Ryan, my buddy. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well, James. Hope you had a good weekend.
James is a man.
Hannah says, "Can I just publicly say on Dan's show that I've been really enjoying participating in these movie reviews. Going back and watching the movies that you've already reviewed, I've found some new favorites." And I think that's what's great about this series. We really love the fact that, we have Hannah here who's gone back, watched the reviews that we've done, and, you guys go on to Disney Plus and check out the movies we reviewed. And this is kind of like why we like doing this, because you never know what we could review. The Cat from Outer Space, George of the Jungle, Sky High, Guardians of the Galaxy, like, it's endless. So both Walt and I are really happy that you've really enjoyed this series, Hannah, and that's why we continue to do them. So
yeah, let me just say real fast, I agree. I think I really love the fact that folks are going back and taking these reviews that we do and watching these movies that we review. They're not just taking our word for it. They're going out and watching them and expanding their palette, so to speak, in the movie genre. I think it's
Absolutely
great. It's exciting.
I really enjoy this. Melissa from Mouse Talk. Hey, Melissa. It's so good to see you. Great job on the weekend streaming from Festival of Flower and Garden. Brandy Bays, welcome into the stream. Welcome into the stream. Movie Mania Nick. I know Nick last week sent me a message saying, "Wait, where's the Tron stream?" I was just like, dude, don't worry, it'll be next week. And I'm glad that you are here, buddy, to come and enjoy it. So let's see who else is here. My chat just jumped like mad. We got my buddy RobFuz in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Partner channel, great friend. Go check him out. He was on Disney Fiasco this weekend. We've also got in the chat Disnoa. What's going up, Noah? Disney's Adventure. Welcome into the stream. We got Pamela Hoffman. Welcome into the stream. Thank you for being here. yeah, what's on the menu tonight, Melissa? I want to know. I'm hungry, and I already had a really big meal already. It's like it's nearly 11 o'clock, and I'm already hungry. Alex, the filmmaker, Alex Brunner, welcome into the stream. Super fluffy Yeti, good to see you. Kate Atwood, welcome in. She's cooking dinner. Everyone's cooking dinner. Like, just
it's dinner. It's dinner time over here.
We've got Tina Marie's Place. T Marie's Place. So good to see you. Member of the channel and a great friend. Thank you so much. Dun, dun, dun. And I think that's everybody so far. Horizons 18. Welcome into the stream.
All right.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
So, oh wait, Shiny Prisma just joined. Hey, Shiny Prisma.
Shiny! What's up, Shiny? Welcome in.
So, 2 weeks ago, we were here. Actually, we were on your channel and we reviewed the Tinkerbell movie with Courtney Rainwaters.
Mm-hmm.
And we pulled out of the box, Tron.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, Walt, I was really excited because though I'd seen Tron Legacy a couple of years ago, and I actually have seen it more than once, I actually had never seen the original Tron before.
Okay. And Tron Legacy is somewhat of a sequel. It really is.
It is a sequel.
It is.
Yeah. It definitely is a sequel, but it's all you could also watch it as a standalone. You don't really have to know anything from the backstory to watch Tron Legacy, which is kind of why I liked it because I went in and my expectations were very, very good. My Captain Akron, good to see you, and Sophie B, welcome into the stream, and Jonathan Chong, good to see you too.
And somebody else came in too.
Did they? Who? Wait, hold on.
Sophie B.
Yes, Sophie B, welcome into the stream. Thank you so much for being here. Happy weekend. So I'd never seen the original Tron at all. Alex Canet, member of the channel. So good to see you, buddy. Hey, welcome in. I'd never seen the original Tron. But I knew there was so much sort of hype around it. There was so much it was like one of those cult films that a lot of people loved, but I never saw the original. Walt, had you seen the original? Had you seen Tron Legacy?
I've seen both. I had only seen Tron. Dude, it's been since Melissa and I have been married. I don't think I haven't seen it in the last 25 years. It's been a long time. So
yeah.
Yes, we have seen Tron. Melissa and I both have seen Tron Legacy together. So yes.
Zoe from Wishing Mouse, good to see you, Zoe. Welcome in. Movie Mania says, Nick says, to understand the entire film, you should watch the first one. Absolutely. I think it sort of gives it a little bit more depth to it, but I think you could watch Tron Legacy without watching Tron. Simba 2, what's up, man?
Hey,
good to see you. Thank you for being here. We got Eric Lee, good to see you too. Welcome in. But I hadn't seen the original Tron. And I was pleasantly surprised. I was really, really surprised. And we're going to go through the film. We'll dive into a little bit of Tron Legacy, but we're mainly going to focus on Tron, the original. Now, you could definitely say that this is a cult film. A lot of people, it didn't make a lot of money in the box office, but it's become sort of that cult favorite classic amongst Disney fans. Hence why we're getting a ride.
Well, yeah. Well, I think this movie is hard. How do I word this? This movie is hard to judge because if you just take it at face value, I don't think a lot of people are ultimately going to take this and give it a very high grade.
Yeah.
When we get into story and we get into plot details and things of that nature and the acting to an extent in this, it's going to be a difficult grade. But then you start getting into where it's gone, like you said, generation-wise, and what it's become as a cult classic. You know, it might help it a little bit. Because it's definitely an early 80s movie. It's got the entire feel of it, okay? Including plot. Because we're going to get into that.
We'll definitely get into that.
Because at times I was doing this.
Bradley Bayer says, interested if we'll need to watch the movies to understand the ride when it opens. I'm going to say no. If you can go on Flight of Passage and not see Avatar, you're going to easily be able to go on Tron Light Cycle without seeing the film. I think it would enhance your experience because you'll know how cool what's so cool about the light cycles are. Right. I don't think you need to see the film to experience the attraction. So there's Joey's World. Good to see you guys. Welcome into the stream, guys. So I think You're right, Walt. I think it's going to be a very difficult film to judge because there are definitely things that's very positive and very things that are so admirable, but then there's also things that sort of drag it down drastically. Horizons 18 says, are you a fan of the Tron soundtracks? Well, we'll definitely get into that, especially with Tron Legacy, because I think the Tron soundtrack is a very important soundtrack, I think, in modern sort of day. You definitely have to take the 80s into consideration when evaluating the film. I think if you look at 80s films, they are definitely standalone as a genre of themselves.
Yeah, well, 80s, look, I'll say this across the board. 80s filmmaking as a whole is a different animal than what we see today.
Yeah.
Okay? 80s filmmaking was, in a lot of ways, not good. Okay? Plot and story were really kind of put to the back burner in a lot of ways. They didn't tie it all together, which I think we'll get into in this movie a little bit. So I agree with him there. Consider when the movie was made. You can't consider. Don't compare it to movies today. It's not a fair comparison.
You can't. No.
It's not a fair comparison.
But you know what? I think the 80s, and this is not just Tron, I think the 80s as a whole, the 80s tried to push the boundaries technology as far as their mind can think that they can go, but not what the technology can do at the time.
Right. That's exact. Oh, I agree. Right.
So they tried
Back to the Future. They're all 80s movies.
They're all 80s movies, and if they were made in the modern day, they would be phenomenal because of the technology that we have now. But back then, we didn't have that technology. So I think that's why Tron is such an interesting movie, because it goes way off the beaten path on things that they try to do.
And that's the thing for me. See, I mean, we ultimately don't even get into the computer or the internet, whatever you want to call it, for a good 35 to 40 minutes into this movie. We don't get into the grid for a while into this movie, and I kind of forgot that. I, for some reason, thought it was like within 10 minutes, we were in the grid, but we actually weren't. They tried to give us a story here of, Flynn, who was originally the up-and-coming superstar, hotshot, genius kid that's going to take this company to the next level, who was kind of undermined by someone. So,
Christine Hickman, my first ever member, thank you so much for being here. Hope you had a lovely weekend. Wow, our chat just jumped like crazy. Wow. Yeah, I love Flight of Passage. I only watched 2 minutes of Avatar. I think it'll be the exact same thing when the Tron light cycle opens. Let's see. Nugget Tube Vlogs. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Hannah says, when I watched it a couple of weeks ago and turned it on, I was like, oh God, this isn't going to be good, purely based on what Walt just described about with the tech. Was confused about where it was going. And I think we'll definitely pick up that. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. Dad Builds, what is up? So let's start with the film. We're going to mainly focus on the original Tron. I think when you first watch this film, you can expect it to be there's a lot of technical talk. There's a lot of sort of computerized talk and a lot of, I'm going to say it's a very nerdy film. It is a very nerdy film, and which is kind of why I like it. I like the fact that it reminded me a lot of Star Wars and Star Trek, that it was so sci-fi. It was proper full sci-fi, and I love that. And you're right. We don't get to the grid for about 35 minutes. We meet young Jeff Bridges, as Flynn. He's kind of like he's not a party guy, but, everyone knows of his genius. He's very smart. He's a very sort of interesting character to get to know. And then there are sort of these two other characters who are sort of supporting him in that way. And they have to go into the grid and pretty much upload this program, which is called Tron, which is going to sort of mediate sort of the grid and make it sort of that they can use it in a good way, essentially.
Right. Ultimately, we actually meet Jeff Bridges' third of the three main characters. Yeah. The first two, Laura is her name, and his name is Alan Bradley. The two tech people, they still technically work for this company. That the grid is on and things of that nature. And they develop their own programs as well. And they're trying to make this program and get together, but they have a certain level of authority and access into the grid. Well, they've now been denied that because the bad guy, Dillinger, as his name is trying to
take over almost.
I guess. I mean, that's part of what confuses me with the movie. I don't really even ultimately know what his main goal is here. I guess they explain it, but
he's the big boss guy at the desk. He just wants you know he's the bad guy because it's that 80s style. He's got the suit. He's at the desk. The camera focuses on him. You know he's the bad guy just by looking at him. That's you don't know his motivation.
But that's part of the problem with the movie to me is I need to know his motivation. But then again, he really isn't the person in control.
No.
Pun intended, because Master Control actually is now saying, I don't even need you anymore, Dillinger. I'm in control. I can take care of everything and control everything. And it's funny because it's got that Terminator vibe to it where the computers...
It's like Skynet, kind of like...
Yeah, kind of like a Skynet thing here. But ultimately... Alan Bradley and Laura, as her name is, they realize what's kind of going on. Hey, this guy he's doing something wrong. He's being sneaky. He's now locked us out. And they go to Jeff Bridges, Flynn, to get help. They need to get into the grid. And like you said, he had been fired. He's gone.
Yeah.
They got rid of him. Well, Dillinger got rid of him because he knew that he was going to be the up-and-coming guy that was going to take his seat as CEO, so he got rid of him.
Yeah. I think you definitely notice that an 80s film when the main villain who controls everybody is called Master Control. You know it's an 80s film when they have a name like that. But what I really liked, and this is sort of our first sort of crossover into Tron Legacy, is that at the start of Tron Legacy, we meet Sam, who's Flynn's son, and he also comes across Alan, who was in the first film. And Alan is the one who sort of sends Sam on his way to go and see Jeff Bridges' father. So we will have sort of these overlaps here, but that's the main thing. Like that's kind of like where we get those overlaps. And we'll come back to Tron Legacy here and there, but that's the main thing. So they're trying to hire, we're going back to Tron, we're trying to hire this guy called Flynn, who clearly has better access to than anybody else. He can pretty much get into the grid, no problem. I like sort of the tank sort of scene, sort of near the beginning, and here's Samantha Lowe. So good to see you.
Now remember, there's programs, and then there's users. You and I are the users, gang. We're the users. No, users are not in the grid because it's not. That's not what.
It's not for us. It's not for us.
It's not for us. That's not there. It's for programs.
We put the programs in. Yeah,
right. Programs are put into the grid, and the problem is the Master Control, who's been taking over everything, is finding these programs that are trying to get in, and see what's going on. He's taking them and kind of putting them. He's taking them over and destroying these programs as they come in to try to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
What I didn't know, as dumb as this might sound, Tron that's what it is. It's not a person. It's a I just lost the word that fast. A program. It's a program.
Yeah.
Tron's a program.
Tron's not a person. It's just a program.
And it's not Flynn's. It's not even Flynn's program. It's Alan's program. It's his.
Now, did you know that the person who played Alan in Legacy played Tron in the original?
Yes. Well, he's also, Alan Bradley is Alan It's Bruce Boxleitner. I really like him, by the way. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's Alan Bradley in the original too. He's Alan and Tron, and he's the same in the movies.
Same in the movie.
It's one of the things that helped me really enjoy Legacy was the fact that they got Jeff Bridges and Bruce Boxleitner to come back for that movie. That was great.
And Michael Sheen was in it too. Sorry, I like Michael Sheen.
That's right, he was in that.
I've never seen Tron, but I have watched lots of Disney movies. Nugget Tube, I think this is a great opportunity to go and sort of dive into sort of other Disney movies that aren't your sort of mainstream Disney movies. Films like Tron is such a great film to go and sort of see other films because there's so many great films out there. And I really like that. I like the fact that there's sort of that overlap. We know that Tron is not Jeff Bridges' character, Flynn's program. It's actually Alan. The fact about it is that it wasn't all about Jeff Bridges. It wasn't all about Flynn. All the other characters sort of had an involvement within their journey, which I quite liked. I did like that. I think because you look at the poster and you're like, right, it's the main character and the sidekick girl, and that's it. But I like the fact there was 3 of them. They all had some form of a role, and they all sort of took this sort of journey together.
Yeah, they also had the other sidekick character. Kind of some spoilers. Unfortunately, he didn't make it that far. Ram, remember Ram? Ram was in it. I actually liked his character. I thought his character was really good. I like that they added some characters like that. But the one thing about it was a program. It's true. I read that.
I love that. Some of us are here programmed to mod some channels in the Disney community.
Right? I know. It's so funny. That is so funny.
You know what? Because of that, Hannah, there you go. You are now programmed to.
She's a good mod. You'll be very happy. She does it.
Just because of that comment.
That is funny. But ultimately, yes, Alan and Laura go to Flynn to try to get in. They realize that he's probably got access. He's going to be able to get in to this mainframe or into the grid and find out what's going on. All the while, which we didn't even really talk about, is Laura and another person who really doesn't have a big part in the film. He's got somewhat of a part in it. Have developed this ray gun that will take real items that have matter. Yeah, like you and I, we have that's what we have, and they're able to disintegrate them into the grid and then bring them back, which is really kind of neat. And that's a big part because that's important to the next part we'll talk about. They break into
So they break into Encom, which is the business. Encom is the company that Skynet. Sort of Skynet, pretty much. Jeff Bridges, his character Flynn, kind of builds, and all the people around him. And they break in. They start to do certain sorts of jobs. They all sort of separate as a group, and Flynn goes off to do some programming, trying to do his sort of job, and he doesn't realize that the ray is behind him, and then he goes through it on the computer, and it's like, can you he answers all the questions, and then he presses like send or something, and he sends himself into the grid. He now is on the grid. And you know what? I like the fact that it's the same thing that kind of happened to his son. Sam did the same thing. He was logging on to Flynn's computer, and he said send. There's a lot of overlap in both films. Sir Isaac Nail, welcome into the stream from Omaha, Nebraska.
What's up, buddy? Well, what's funny is what makes that really a big moment is because, again, a user is in the grid. There's no such, that doesn't happen. When he gets there, they're like, what program are you? What program are you? And he has to kind of make one up at first because he doesn't want them to know that he's a user.
Yeah. So let's talk about the set and talk about the production of the film as at this point.
You're talking about the cinematography.
The cinematography.
Okay.
I think as soon as Flynn entered the grid, the people who designed the film and created the film had to think very smart. And it looks very 80s. It looks very lots of 80s colors. The suits were very 80s. And you can see a lot of it on Prop Culture, which I definitely would recommend. Go watch Prop Culture. Yeah. They did a whole show on Tron.
Yeah. A whole episode on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Tron... The original Tron film has a very distinctive look, and I think for its time, I think this is what everyone sort of goes to. It was very revolutionary of what they did, and we'll get into sort of the other things that they did that makes it even more revolutionary as well.
Right. Well, for me, this is the downfall to the film, right? And it's not its fault. It's not its fault. No. It was 1980. What? 82.
82.
It was the cinematography that they had at the time. Okay, they didn't have what we have today. They didn't have all the CGI and the green screens and all the technology that we have today to make that look better. But you can tell it's dated. It doesn't dated. Look. If there's one thing about the cinematography that I hate to say, this downfall here is it doesn't stand the test of time. It doesn't hold up today. People are going to look at this and they're going to be like,
it looks very
it's not visually appealing to the eyes. It's just not. Yeah, though, to me, that's a downfall.
I would argue that Tron Legacy is the complete opposite. I think, in my personal opinion,
agreed.
I think the best thing about Tron Legacy is the visuals and the colors and the neon lights of Tron Legacy. I would even say, look, Tron Legacy has been out for 10 years, and it looks like it's just come out yesterday. It looks fresh. It looks incredibly well designed, and it's simple. It's simple. There's the darks, there's the blacks, and there's the neon oranges and the neon blues. And that's what I loved about the difference between Tron and Tron Legacy is the fact that Tron Legacy is pretty much a very similar film, but done in the modern day, and it's what they can do with what they could have done back in the day. And I loved it. I love the visuals in Tron Legacy.
Right. And what I feel, well, I'm going to get to it when we come to our final review, but ultimately you're right. Now we're in the grid. The user's in there. I'm trying to figure out how to make a CGI version of myself. That's funny.
Simba, you've already done that. You did it last 2 years ago. Sorry, I cut you off.
What came first, Tron the game or Tron the film? I think it was the film.
I think it was the film, then the game, and then Tron Legacy.
I think. I'm not 100%.
Oh, Hannah, with the you're so kind. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. I'm not programmed to give this because you deserve it. Thank you so much for the honor of having me mod your channel. I love you two so much, Hannah. We both love you, and thank you for being such an amazing person in this community and being part of our channel. So awesome. Thank you so much, Hannah. We really do appreciate it. We really do. Sorry, awesome. I got completely distracted.
That's all right. I totally get it. But so they're now in there, and now he's inside the grid, and this is where, look, I'm sorry, the movie kind of confused me. Maybe I'm just an idiot.
No, I'm with you.
I'm kind of like, where are we ultimately trying to get to here? But he's in there, and he does finally, he gets caught and everything. He's kind of go up against. This is a user. They don't know he's a user, but he's got to go up against other programs. And they kind of do these deathmatch things inside there where these programs are eliminated if you lose. And, he's a user. He's a real person. If he doesn't win, he's going to die. It's different. And he does have to take out a program.
But I think this is what a lot of people know Tron for, and that is the games. And that's what it's all about, is the games. And we know that there are two types of games in the original Tron. There's the disc.
Actually, there's three. There's the disc.
There's the
highlight thing that looks like highlight.
Yeah. Like mini lacrosse.
Right, almost like lacrosse, kind of. You're right. I'm sorry. Lacrosse is better. You have that, which is very, very quick in the film. It's not long. Then you have the disc, and then you have the cars.
Yeah, the light cycles. Yeah.
So they actually have three different battles that you ultimately can be included in or part of, but they really only delve into two seriously.
And you know what? You're right, and I think that's what most people know about Tron. They recognize the light cycles, they recognize the disc battles, and that's pretty much it.
Correct.
Pamela Hoffman says, I was afraid to say I was confused at the movie. Glad you said it, Walter. But I'm in an agreement too. And I think what this film is it's not the fact that it follows a story. It's almost like a series of scenes that happen one after the other.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like it doesn't feel like an overarching storyline. It just feels like this scene they're doing this, and this scene they're doing this, and this scene it all feels quite chunky, quite separate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about you. We got Leanne Sherbick. Welcome into the stream. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh,
welcome.
Leanne, by the way, let me just, if you don't mind, Leanne, we got your card. Thank you for the card. That was very nice. She sent us a card the other day.
Oh. The disc game is like dodgeball, but the light up frisbee. Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, ultimately it is. I think that's what they're ultimately getting at with that. Just a little bit of a flair to it for sure. Absolutely.
But I think the light cycle part where they all transform into sort of they sort of put themselves into the light cycles. I think that's what a lot of people know this film from, and we talk about that sort of that Disney scene from a commercial. Like the Beauty and the Beast ballroom scene, or the Cinderella turning into her ball gown that you see on those Disney commercials. That scene from when the programs turn and go into the light cycles, you do see that on commercials occasionally, but that's probably the only part of the movie you really see that's like that they take from the film,
which is correct, and then there's a reason for that.
There's a reason for that. So they do the light cycle battle. We'll just skip ahead a little bit. They do the light cycle battle, and they end up breaking out. All three. So Tron, Ram, and Flynn. They all get out, and there's sort of like a cat and mouse chase.
They're kind of getting. They need to get the master control is where they need to get to.
Yeah.
So they can overtake master control. But to get it, they got to get out of this one area.
Like an arena. It's like an arena
or jail or whatever. And Dan's right. They actually succeed. They break out, and now obviously they're being chased to be either eliminated or brought back in.
Yeah. So they end up getting out, and actually they get separated. I believe. Is it Tron that gets separated?
Tron gets separated. Ram and Flynn are together.
And Ram doesn't make it, I don't think.
Ram doesn't make it.
Ram doesn't make it.
His program dissolves.
Like the disk drives of 1990 and early 2000s.
He is obsolete.
They're obsolete. So Ram doesn't make it, and it ends up being Tron and Flynn left, who need to get to master control so they can sort of upload Tron as sort of that sort of. He's almost like a guardian of the grid. Like he's like that guy who's going to protect the grid.
Yep. And Laura, the girl that's in the film, Laura, she also has a program called Yori. She is there from time to time. You'll see her. She doesn't have as big a role as she probably should have.
She supports Tron.
Yeah, she's there. But she is there as well throughout the film, helping them, and it's important.
Can we talk about Flynn's power to overwrite sort of things and change things on the grid?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that is purely just to move the story along. It's like a plot device to move the story along, because I think if Flynn didn't have that power to change sort of the grid by himself, I don't think they would have got to that place. It's purely there as a plot device.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually see that in Tron Legacy. He's the one who sort of created the incarnations of the grid and changed things. And I actually preferred it in Tron Legacy because he's almost like the grandfather of the grid. He's kind of like the one in control. But I think in this film, in the original, I feel like they put it in there because they didn't really know what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But yeah, it's interesting and there's a lot of overlap. They go on that solar train sort of thing across the sky.
Again, trying to get to the grid.
Get to the grid. I think Yuri turns up at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They do. There's always a battle going on, and Carol from Khaki, welcome into the stream. And I'm going to be honest with you, Walt. At this point, I really was getting lost and became quite uninterested at this part of the film.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I get the motivation for the movie. I really do, and I get what they wanted to try to get here. But you're right. I think we look. They needed to make it an hour and a half movie, right? They needed a 90-minute movie, and there really wasn't a 90-minute story they were telling.
Yeah. So
they tried to kind of give us some filler, and I kind of think that's what that was. Is ultimately that's filler to help either the plot, to intensify the plot a little bit more, maybe to in that respect. But I agree. Yeah, at this point, I'm not still quite sure what's going on. I think I know, and you're right. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So that's why I'm going to need some help where we're going next, because I honestly, it's a bit of a blur to me.
It ultimately is this. Look, the entire time, again, we talked about this. This is what they're trying to do. The whole motivation is to get to, they're trying to get the master control to take over the program and just take it over from the bad guy who's trying to ultimately take over the world with programs. That's what master control was trying to do. He's like, I don't need you anymore, Dillinger. I can do it all myself. And then that way he can get into launch codes and things like that in the military. And that's certainly not what you want. But that's what they're trying to do.
Absolutely. Jonathan Truck says the break in the movie riding the solar vehicle worked better in Legacy over the original. I totally agree. When Sam and Flynn were on the solar sort of stream, solar train, I like the fact that it was a bit of a break. I like the fact that Sam and Flynn got to sort of reconnect. But yeah. Mickey Mouse Verified is here. Hi, pal. I hope everyone's having a zippity doo dah day. So thank you, Mickey, for joining. Simba says it's a bit of a blur for me. Code for I fell asleep. I'm not gonna lie to you, Simba. My eyes were dazzling a little bit. So they end up getting to Master Control. There was a fight with sort of the second in command.
Sark.
Yeah.
Sark is kind of like he's the head military guy in there. He's the one that's supposed to be defending Master Control and the grid. But he doesn't do a very good job. He he's the bad guy that doesn't win. Now, look, we have him in all the Disney films. The bad guys always lose. He's one of the henchmen, the head henchman that's supposed to be stopping Tron and Flynn and Yori from getting there, but he fails at every turn. He doesn't get it done, and he ultimately gets eliminated too.
He gets eliminated, and then you know what I didn't like about Master Control is that he didn't put up much of a threat. He didn't make me, and you love your villains. You know, you love your villains. This Master Control was not a villain.
No, villains for me, I like villains that are very
scary.
Scary, yeah, I really do. I like scary villains. I like the ones that really are kind of ooh.
I'm always going to, every time I think of a villain, I always sort of think about how you sort of interpret what a villain is. Mm-hmm. A villain like Hannibal Lecter, a villain, I would put Heath Ledger's Joker in there. Those are villains. They are villains. They just want the world to burn or do harm. Mm-hmm. Master Control, he says what he wants to do, but he doesn't pose any sort of threat. He doesn't make me feel like, right. What he doesn't do, he doesn't make you feel like he can achieve his goal.
Right.
So
and
that's
part
why
of that is, but that's plot development. I mean, that's character development. They don't really develop his character. He's just, okay, he's the bad guy. This is what he wants. Now try to stop him. Yeah, that's basically it. Alex kind of says it too. That's the plot that's the plot in a nutshell for sure. Right.
Yeah.
And look, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of movies like this out there.
Oh, there's plenty.
Plenty of movies like this out there. Okay, that's Star Wars in a nutshell. Just a better story told.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of what Star Wars is. It's the same story.
So, long story short, Tron uploads himself to the grid. He's now sort of in control. He's the one now involved. And you know what? I find it quite bizarre that you normally you're following Flynn most of the film, mm-hmm. but it's Tron who's the guy doing it. I guess
it's Alan's program that ultimately saves the day. Yeah. I agree. Yeah,
I feel like it almost feels like you didn't really need Flynn in the movie.
No, you don't, I guess, ultimately. I mean, he was there. He was the main guy. Because I always thought, growing up, and again, I haven't seen this movie in at least 25 years, if not longer. I always thought Tron was Jeff Bridges' character.
Me too.
Okay, I did. But then I was like, the more I looked at it, and when I went back, I'm like, oh, wait, he's not. That's not his character.
No.
He's not Tron. It's Bruce Boxleitner's character. It's really, I agree 100%. Yeah. His character is Tron. He's the one that ultimately does save the day. And they do get in. They beat the grid, and they kind of take over. And this is where I really have a problem with the movie. He comes back from being in the grid. You see him reappear through the ray gun. They snap to the next scene, and it's him flying in on a helicopter with Alan and Laura standing there at the top of this building, and they say, "Here comes the CEO." And Jeff Bridges comes out of the helicopter and hugs him, and that's it. That is it. I mean, that's it. That's how it ends. It's that simple.
It's an 80s way of finishing.
Right, but they don't really show us, what happened to Dillinger. Did he go to jail? Did he get fired?
No.
How did they reprogram the system? What was he ultimately trying to get with Dillinger? What was he trying to control?
Uh,
They just all of a sudden, okay, we won, and guess what? Jeff Bridges is now the CEO, which is, I don't know. I just had issues with that. It's like,
yeah.
okay, thanks guys, we got to go now. We got nothing else to tell you, so we're just going to end it.
Yeah. I want to quickly summarize Tron Legacy because I think it's a very different film. There's a lot of similarities. A lot of sort of the way the film is structured is very sort of similar, but a different story told. Instead of being Master Control in as the villain, Flynn, Jeff Bridges' character sort of duplicates himself as Clue, and Clue is sort of the one who wants to make the perfect system, which I think is a very interesting sort of scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that. It actually reminds me a lot of what Tony Stark wants to do in Age of Ultron, create sort of that perfect world, and it reminded me a lot of sort of Ultron and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which we reviewed. If you want to go watch it, please do. And I really like the fact that sort of Clue wasn't so much, he was a villain, but he was just doing what he was programmed to do, and that was to make the perfect system. They still follow the same sort of structure as in the light cycles and the disc battles before that. I really enjoy sort of Sam Flynn sort of being sort of introduced as Flynn's son, looking for Flynn, his father, in the grid. There's some things that I didn't quite enjoy about the film, but I think the main thing that I loved was the visuals. I really enjoyed the music of Tron Legacy. Daft Punk did a fantastic soundtrack for Tron Legacy, and you can actually see them in the end of line bar where Michael Sheen plays Zeus, who reminds me of a lot of Loki, actually, funny enough. Very sort of charismatic, very sort of, Santa Flynn. Like, it's a very sort of great. I really enjoyed that scene. And even Tron is in Tron Legacy, even though he's got the name as the movie, but Tron Legacy actually is a bad guy in Tron Legacy, sort of turning good. I enjoy this Tron Legacy a lot more than Tron. Purely visuals alone is so much better, obviously because of time has got better, but I think the story is a lot better too. It's better well told, I think, in Tron Legacy. But I think that's where we're sort of at with this. I would say this, I think, Walt, you can agree, Tron is definitely one of those cult following films, and it's definitely worth watching. We say this to all of the films we watch. Definitely is worth a watch and make your own opinion.
Every single time. Every single time.
Every single time.
Yeah, you have to make your own opinion.
You have to make your own opinion because you might go and watch Tron and you might absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people may love Tron Legacy and some people may not like Tron Legacy. But it's definitely worth doing. And we really love the fact that you guys, go out each and every week and watch the films that we are going to go and watch. But let's review. Let's do a summary. While Walt is giving us our summary, we on this show do an A+ to an F grading scale.
Right.
So if you've seen the movie or you've seen Tron or Tron Legacy, just share in the chat which movie you've watched and what you would grade it, from A+ being the best and F being the lowest. I see C as like the middle ground. Post it in the chat, and while Walt is summarizing his film and his grade and his favorite characters, and then we'll see what everybody's opinions are in the chat. So, Walt, what is your summary of Tron? And if you want to add in Tron Legacy, then feel free to add Tron Legacy too.
Sure. Tron Legacy, I like it better. I haven't seen it in a while. I like the plot better. Obviously, the visuals and everything, cinematography is a lot better. I like that better. I do like the fact also, too, that you had some of the original characters in this film. Jeff Bridges, Bruce Boxleitner were brought back. I like that part of it. But I haven't seen it in a while, so I'd say it was good. But I'm going to grade Tron.
Yeah.
Because that's the one I just watched 2 weeks ago. This was a mishmash of a story and plot for me. It was hard to follow at times. The acting was okay at times. It was nothing wonderful. Actually, I kind of thought Jeff Bridges was a little over the top at times with the acting. It was also it was early in his career. I think he was in his late 20s, early 30s at that point.
I believe so, yeah.
Um, my favorite character is actually Tron. I do like Bruce Boxleitner's character the best in it. Cinematography to me is one of the things that lacked. I'm sorry. I know it was different for its time. For the 80s, it was cool. Today, it's not cool. It's dated. It's bad viewing. It hurts your eyes. Almost. I can't. The story was okay. It was kind of meh and boring. I hate to say it.
Okay.
I didn't feel like there was a lot on the line. Like you said, I like it when you feel like you really have something to, oh my gosh, you know. But I wasn't there with this film. For me, I got to give it a D.
Okay. No, that's totally fair. I think everybody will have different grades, and I think that's totally respectable. And I'm on a similar wavelength to you. And I like the fact you said Tron was your favorite character. Hannah says she's going to give Tron a C+, which I think that's fantastic. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and Tron Legacy a B. Really great. Well done. I like that. I like that a lot. Noah gives it an A+. Also counts as rides. Yeah.
Okay.
Look, Noah gives it an A+. Absolutely fantastic. Jonathan Tron gives it an A- for Tron Legacy, and Tron Original C+ to B-.
Okay.
Remember, fellas, no programming anyone to say A+. No, nothing like that. Tron C+, Tron Legacy A-. Alex Canet says visuals for the time, an A, plot, theme, characters a C- for Alex.
Okay.
Kay says Tron a C. Have not watched Tron Legacy. Okay. Joey Houston, member of the channel. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Greg.
Thank
Good
you
to see you.
I'm giving the movie Tron a C- and Tron Legacy a D. Okay, so I think James was the first one to sort of swap the grades around, where Tron has got higher grade than Tron Legacy. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Melissa says I really liked Legacy, but have yet to watch the original all the way through. Yeah, I think if you like Legacy, I think you may like the original Tron. Tron D, Legacy C. Now, my grade is this. For the original Tron, I'm similar to you. I gone with a C-. Now, the reason why I chose C-, it would have been a D+ to a D if I hadn't seen Prop Culture. The reason why I jumped it up a little bit was because I watched Prop Culture and I really enjoyed how they created Tron for that time period. And I like seeing the props and how they did things.
Yeah,
that's the only reason.
Yeah.
That's why I gave it a little. It's why, yeah, it was cool. That's why I gave it a little bit of a tweak, because I like sort of how they did the production of it. For Tron Legacy, I gave it a B. I think it is a really, fun film, Tron Legacy, and it's got everything you could possibly need in it. It's fun. It's action packed. It's got a really great story. And you got Jeff Bridges in it and Michael Sheen. So Tron Legacy, I give a B. Tron. A C-. Barely a C-.
All right. Let me say this. I do love the fact that Tron is not being forgotten, and it's going to have a huge footprint at the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World. Tron Light Cycle is coming. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait. It's really cool that they've taken what I consider to be the best part of the movie, the Light Cycle part, and they're making it a ride. It's going to be fantastic. And I'll be honest with you. I'll be the first one in line to get merchandise for Tron.
Me too. I'll be there too. Anna Isabel, welcome into the stream. Thank you for being here. Movie Mania Nick says C for Tron and B for Tron Legacy. I'm looking forward to the attraction. I just want all I ask, I hope that they do this, and I hope they do this, is that they bring the Daft Punk music when riding the ride. I would love that. I would love that if they did that. I hope they do that.
They might.
But yeah, it was really, really good. And I'm glad that, younger generations are experiencing this film, because it's a great franchise. I think it's a good franchise. I just think the first film was too ahead of its time.
Well, I think the ride's going to give it a boost. I think you're going to have people that probably wouldn't give it the time of day. They may now go back and give this movie and Tron Legacy a watch. I think
we're gonna get Tron Numos and Tron.
I think so.
Hoodie, Tron.
There'll be discs.
Sweatshirts.
We're gonna have discs. Are you kidding me?
We're gonna get discs. We could
They're
design
gonna have toy. They're gonna have toy life cycles.
We could design our own disc.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
And then you have next to the building at the end of line bar. Anyway, it is that time. Next week on Walt's channel, we are going to be picking. Actually, no, we're going to pick the movie now.
We're picking right now. Cricket Fox, welcome in.
Hey, Cricket Fox, good to see you. Next week's movie that we are going to pick right now is going to be on Walt's channel. We're looking forward to seeing what film we're going to pick. So, everybody in the chat, drum roll, please.
Before you pick it, Melissa's right. They used to sell this because we got one.
You got one?
We did. I remember that. I know we bought one. Melissa's in the chat. Melissa, remind me. But yes, Disney used to sell this.
That is cool. Anywho, next week's film on Walt's channel, we have got.
Come on, Dan. Pull a good one. I pulled Tinkerbell last time.
We're going back to the MCU.
Oh!
We are going to be watching Captain Marvel.
Thanks.
I'm sorry. I'm giving you all the short straws the last couple of weeks. Look, so next week, we are going to be reviewing Captain Marvel with Brie Larson, Samuel Jackson. Looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an interesting sort of take on what we think about this, and especially what's been going on recently with WandaVision. Maybe we'll cross over with a little bit of that next week. So if you haven't seen Captain Marvel, if you haven't seen it in a while, please go and watch it this week. We're going to be reviewing it next week. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we look forward to having you back over next week. This was fun.
It was great. Hannah sent me a message. Hannah Wagner sent me a message earlier in the week. She goes, "Well, I consider you a Marvel,
it's true,
expert. What order should I watch the movies in?" I told her you should watch them in release date. I'm a release date guy. I'm not a chronological guy. I said release date. So I think Hannah's starting to watch them. That's why she made the comment, "Oh gosh, I've got a lot of homework." Walt's giving me the order to watch them in.
But I would say Captain Marvel is a film I think you can watch at any point before Endgame because it is so separate from the rest of the MCU.
It is. I don't know. I always try to say if you can do it in release date order, you'll be better.
I would agree. But I feel like this one is an exception because it is so out of place.
That's true.
This is funny. Sophie B says she just watched it this evening.
Wow, how about that? That's pretty cool.
How about that? That is bizarre. Jersey Mike, good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Mike.
But this was so much fun. So Captain Marvel next week on Walt's channel. We look forward to having you. Walt, wonderful weekend of stream. Again, thank you for joining. Congrats on 7,000 subscribers. So what's coming up this week? What's going on Mouse Talk?
Tuesday is DIZNEYDAN. We might be going on location. We'll see. Either way, we'll have a fun topic to talk about. Of course, next weekend, we'll be doing some live streams from the parks. I know that Sunday we're in Animal Kingdom. We're still working on Saturday. Saturday's been a busy week. Right now, there's no opening, so we might be doing a Universal Day. Who knows? We'll be somewhere. And, of course, Thursday is the next episode of our Disney Ride-Along.
Yeah.
And it will be fun. You have to show up to see what that one's about. Actually, you already know if you've looked in our channel. It's on Star Tours. We're going to be talking about Star Tours, and we're going to be taking a ride and going through the queue. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, of course, this coming Friday is round 1 of Mouse Madness.
Yes.
The voting begins Friday.
Listen, people, I look forward to this every single year. Every year I look forward to the Mouse Madness because it is just crazy. And I hope our ride wins for its 6th consecutive year, but who knows?
Well, I always say to this, people, vote fairly. I don't want people to not vote for a ride because they just don't want to see it win. If you like, because it's won, I had people say, hey, I'm going to vote otherwise because I don't want it to win again. Don't do that. Vote how you feel. If it's your favorite ride and you want it to win, let it win. Vote for it. It shouldn't be that way. I'm going to vote for the ones I like. Look, we've got a new one. I think Runaway Railway's in there. I was really hoping Ratatouille was going to be added, but they didn't open it, so I can't add it.
Nope. You can add the Skyway, Skyliner.
Right.
you would get rid of that one straight away.
You know what? The Skyliner is really, really cool. It is fantastic. If I wasn't afraid of heights, Dan, it would be my second favorite form of transportation. I'd put it ahead of the monorail. I really would.
Oh, I thought the buses were your number one.
Boats, dude. Buses.
The buses. Hannah says, Sophie and I are physics?
Physics.
Because before Dan pulled out the film, I was like, please don't, a Marvel film. Well,
psychics. I think she means psychics.
Oh, psychics.
Yeah, psychic.
What? Dan's scaring me of his excitement with his face in the cam so close. I do this when I make effect or if I'm talking about food.
Exactly.
That's it.
He does. That's his way of enhancing how important it is or how excited he is.
But guys, Mouse Madness is so much fun. That'll be starting on Friday. I'm looking forward to it, Walt. And then you got streams on the weekend, which is exciting too. So guys, go check out Walt from Mouse Talk, partner channel, great friend, and an amazing channel.
I'm gonna do one more thing, one more plug, because I'm gonna get in trouble if I don't. I always forget this. I got to start writing it down. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Magic of the Mouse Radio, episode 3 of the Kingdom Clubhouse. We got a new episode.
Nice. I'll be definitely listening to that. Absolutely.
Sorry,
that's all right. No, you don't need to apologize. As for me, partner channels, thank you so much to the Viapree Project, Mickey's Magic, RobFuz, and this wonderful gentleman and Melissa Mouse Talk. Thank you for being my amazing partner channels. Big also thank you to Dean over at The Live Place. TheLivePlace.com is your go-to guide for all your family-friendly live streamers. And big thank you to Dean over there. And go check him out on his website. So at The Live Place. Also, go check out the Polka Dot Podcast. Leslie over at the Polka Dot Podcast. Really fun podcast over there. She's mainly does family talk and motherly talk at Disney, but she wanted to talk to me about cast member stuff. So go check her out, and also go check out the Great British Mickey Waffle podcast. I was on there this last week, and it was so much fun. We had a great laugh, and go check those guys out. Next week for Disney Fiasco episode 129, we're going to be talking about our favorite steaks in Walt Disney World, our top 10 steaks we get in Walt Disney World. So sorry, vegetarians, it's all about the meat. I'm a big steak guy, so where is the best steak on property? That's what's going to be happening next Saturday, 7 p.m. And then Sunday, 2 streams. Firstly, 3 p.m. is Disney Nuts. If you missed today, we had Carlos from Disney World Freak. It was really, really good fun. And then we'll be back on Walt's channel for Disney Movie Review, 6 p.m. as normal. But it's been so much fun. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your weekend to come and see me, not once, not twice, but 3 times this weekend. Lots of streaming this weekend. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you again to all my wonderful members. You guys are absolutely fantastic. I do cherish your support, and I cherish everybody who just turned up this evening and spent an hour with Walt and I. So thank you so much. I hope everybody has a lovely, magical week. And yeah, what more can I say? The grid is closed, shut down.
I don't know.
It's the end. Yeah, you beat me on that one. It's the end of the line. I love it when Jeff Bridges goes, enjoy the drink. And Michael Shee's just like, bye, everybody.